All right, so what you have done is you should all have your insects drawn on your paper. Some of you are going to have it drawn on 2, some of you are going to have it drawn on 1, depending on what class you are in. Once you're done with that, you're going to do a worksheet, which I'm going to show you in just a second, and then I'm going to demo how to add value to your insects using pencil. So you're going to have something that looks like this, and then you're going to do some sketches so you can divide it up similar to what you see here, which will then look like that or like that. So those are your examples. When you're ready, you will need a worksheet that looks like this, the Shattered Value worksheet. On the top it has a scale, a value scale, 2 value scales, and then there are 4 thumbnail sketches here. You will need a 6B pencil. The reason you want a 6B pencil is a 6B pencil is a softer leaded pencil than an HB pencil. An HB pencil is easy to erase, and it is not as dark of a value pencil as a 6B. It's a softer lead. So you want a 6B pencil, and you want a blending tool. Okay, and probably a scratch piece of paper too, so you can clean your blending tool, especially right now. There aren't a whole lot of new blending tools left. So what you're going to do with this top one is you're going to create 10 distinct values, and then with the bottom one you're going to create 10 smooth values. So it's going to look like this. So I have 10 distinct values here, and then I have 1 smooth value down here. Okay. Black to white on both sides. Now when you're doing values, you want to remember to do them very smoothly. You don't want to be able to see the lines. I actually do not use blending tools at all in my art. Neither does the art teachers that I learned from. They just don't use them. So I was never taught to use them. I allow you to use blending tools because some of you really like to get those smooth values, so that's fine. What you need to remember is you need to apply a constant pressure. You can't apply like a lot of pressure in one spot and none in another, because then you're going to get lines, and then they're not going to be smooth. So if I were to do this one, you're going to start here, and you can get darker values by applying more pigment or more lead, or by more pressure. So in my darkest area, I'm going to apply a lot of pressure. And then I kind of go back over it this way because I want it nice and solid. And I don't want to see anything, any paper, any lines. That's my darkest value. And then in the next area, notice I didn't brush the extra lead off with my hands. That just makes a mess. We don't want to use your fingers when you're blending either. That's why I give you a blending tool. There's multiple reasons. 1, it just smudges it and it makes it look messy. 2, it adds oil to your paper, and then it actually varnishes it in, so you actually cannot get those values off because the oil will trap that value in there. When you're in a museum, you can't touch artwork because of the oil on your hands. So why would you want to potentially ruin your artwork with the oil from your fingers when you're adding value? Also, you touch something else, it just makes a complete and total mess. So, and you can't get into small areas with it. Your fingers are not small enough. This is small. Your fingers are not. So next, I just want a little lighter value. Notice that I'm applying the same amount of pressure, and I'm just going over it. That's how you're going to get the smooth values, by applying the same amount of pressure and just going over it and over it. Then you could always darken it up. You can always lighten it up. I use a lot of erasers. I use a kneaded eraser to lighten things if I need to. I'll show you that. And then you just go all the way down until you get to your white, and you leave this one white. Okay. Now with this one, you're going to do the same thing. Darkest here. but you want it to be smooth. You don't want steps. You want it to be smooth because in this assignment you're going to be doing it smooth. You're going to fill this entire rectangle. This is where this comes into play. Now you can smooth it out so you get a nice step here. So you don't see that step. Okay, another way you could do it is if you left this white, you could take this and you can apply a very light value to the entire thing. Notice it's a smooth tone. You don't see any lines. I'm applying a nice smooth tone. It's important to get a smooth tone so you do not see lines. Okay, then I can just start going over this area more. And notice I'm not using like the edge like this, doing like a windshield wiper. I'm using more of the tip. And I'm not pressing very hard. I'm just continuing to go over it. The more times you go over it, the darker it becomes. When you apply smooth tones, you don't have to worry about using that blending tool because you're just going over it and your pencil is smoothing the tones. And you can use a kneaded eraser to erase areas. To lighten them up or to blend them as well. I can lighten them up by just going like this. This lightens up your area if you need to. And then you continue to go over it until you get this. A nice smooth tone. You don't really see any lines in there when you look at it. On the screen it looks a little bit different. I will go in and maybe fix some of these areas in here. Just very lightly. Come in here. So then what you're going to do is this is how you're going to apply it to your drawing. Now you need to have at least 3 thumbnail sketches on ideas of how to add lines into it. So I have my dragonfly kind of sketched in here very roughly, and then I have some lines in here. So I have some lines that radiate out, and then I did kind of a spiral around here. I did some wavy lines in this one, and then I did some zigzag lines in that one. So what you want to do is you want to pick which one you really like the best, or if you're doing 2, the 2 that you really like the best. Then what you want to do is you want to split your paper in half. If you're using the small sheet, you're going to split your paper into 4 if you're using a big sheet. So for this one, I will split, since it's large, I'll split it into 4. So this is my middle, and then I'll have this one as one of them because we're going to use 4 different materials. And this one. So this will be a material, this will be a material, this will be a material, and this will be a material. That is going to be a bit confusing. Ask me and I will help you with that. So if you're using 2 small sheets, you'll just split them in half. If you're using 1 large sheet, you'll split it into 4. So what you're going to do is you're going to start in one spot. So you could start in the corner, you could start in this corner, you could start in the middle, wherever you want. I'm going to start right here where it radiates out, and you're going to start and you're going to do a dark value in the corner, whichever corner you want, and then you're going to have a smooth tone that radiates out to white. Remember, apply smooth values. That's why I give you that practice. And mine got pretty dark. It's a little too distinct, so I'm going to actually use my eraser to erase some areas in here. But you want that tip to be really dark because we tend to not do dark things. Then you're going to start in the opposite corner for the one right next to it. So I'm going to do dark right here. And this one's pretty tiny. Anytime there's a line, this is a dragonfly line, okay? And then obviously this one's going to be dark here too because it's touching, and it'll be every other one. And then I could do it here, but I'm going to do it over here because it's opposite. I want that to be a nice blended value, just like my second one. Notice I'm barely applying pressure right here. If I want to, I can use my blending tool. If your blending tool is dirty, just clean it off with a scratch piece of paper. I could have also started it right here. It's completely up to you. They just need to be like every other one and spiral around however you want to do it. So that way you have all these different shattered values going on. So you're going to do one entire area with pencil is what you're going to do. So I'm going to do this one over here. You don't want them random. You want them to be a little thought out. And you just keep going until you get this whole area filled, and then we'll use other values for these other areas.